Merry Christmas, boys and girls. It's Shane, and this is the mermaid door going into the mermaid bathroom. I've got a problem. So this is part of our Dungeons and Dragons Airbnb. So we have mermaids, art decor, mermaid stuff. We have this giant bathtub, and our problem is right up here. This is kind of a common problem I see with these tubs that overlay the edge of tile. Water is building up here. You can see I showered earlier. The water sets right up in here, and it will go and seep through this tile and drip, this is an upstairs bathroom, onto the ceiling below and cause ceiling damage. Because it's running down this hose and getting onto here, or in some cases it's just splash from a person showering and the water splashing up against the wall and then running down the wall. Now, there are a lot of ways to handle this. I could just use some silicone sealant or something like that to potentially stop it from seeping through. But the water would still end up coming down into the floor, and we do not have a floor drain up here. This floor was installed without a drain. I don't really want to retile it all. So I'd like you to think right now, what is a great way to handle this that isn't going to cost a lot of money and would be really awesome? So if you answered aluminum foil, congratulations, you're the winner today. We're going to use this giant container of aluminum foil to fix this. And I know you must be thinking I don't know what I'm doing right now, but just let's see what happens. So first off, I'm going to get rid of all the moisture that's already up here. Once I've removed most of the basic moisture with the regular towel, I'll use paper towels because these will be much better at absorbing, and we'll get the remainder of that moisture. So we're spraying this down really good with some alcohol, which is going to evaporate really fast to help make sure everything is dry and ready for the silicone. Just like so. I want to go ahead and get onto the inside edge here because we're going to silicone the inside edge of the tub as well. That is step one. One of the problems so many people have, I think, is they want problems to go away and not exist anymore. We have the problem of the water sitting on this ledge and sinking down. That's a problem. So we just want the problem to go away. And our ideas of problems going away are making it the way that is the most normal, or the way that's the most ordinary, and the way that's most like that. Like, I just want it to be the way it is, but with no problems. And that can be very expensive. To do this where that's not going to be a problem, I have to retile this wall. I probably need to retile the floor. I need to retile the wall behind it. All of that will have to be redone because I'm not going to be able to match these tiles. And I'm going to have to pull all these tiles up and fix the waterproof barrier behind it. That's insanely expensive and destructive and will take days, and I just don't want to go that route. So rather than trying to get rid of problems and make it so the problem doesn't exist, we're going to just accept that this problem is going to exist and go forward assuming this problem will exist. So how do we make it no longer be a problem? Sometimes I say, how do I even emphasize a problem? So we're just kind of, and I don't even need this to be neat. You'll see why in just a minute. I'm actually way overdoing this. We're going to get way up in there, Morty. Way up in there. Lots and lots. And yes, can I silicone a bathtub better than this? Of course I can. Do I need to? Nope, don't need to. It's super important that I do the inside edge of this tub too. I want the tub itself covered with a layer of silicone, and that's going to make sense when we get done. Also, this area here needs to be siliconed as well so that we can have a nice layer on everything. Look at all that silicone. It's so gooey and sticky. And yes, I know this doesn't look like I know what I'm doing yet, but just bear with me. So the point of this silicone isn't just to seal for water in this case. Silicone remains flexible when it dries. So when the fix that we put in is going to expand and contract with temperature changes and moisture changes at a different rate than this plastic tub and a different rate than this tile. So when it expands and when it contracts, these are going to act like compression joints. They will squeeze and then they will retract, so there won't be a water gap but there also won't be cracks forming in the tub. It won't break the tile. It's not going to cause any of those problems. This is the biggest container of aluminum foil I've ever got. It cost me about 20 bucks at Sam's. This is one of the major things that we're going to be using. So I'm going to take this aluminum foil and very carefully, it's important that you're very careful with this step, wad it into a ball as tightly as I can. Okay, we're going to do that a bunch more to a bunch more aluminum foil. Now, while the silicone is still wet, I'm going to stick the aluminum foil. And I know you're probably thinking this is one of those videos where the person's just going to keep doing weird things and it's never going to go anywhere. But yes, it is going somewhere. You will see. Just bear with me a little bit. So we're going to press those in like so. And we're going to fill this whole area up. Okay, that's the first step with the aluminum foil, but it's by far not the last thing we're going to use the aluminum foil for. Let's move on to the next ingredient. Rapid Set mortar mix. Only the Rapid Set brand is going to work for this that I know of. If you guys know that there's a similar brand that would work, you can let me know. But this stuff is amazing. This cures really fast, so I'm just going to mix up a little bit at a time in a small bucket. And I'm just going to mix it by hand. Once it gets about to that consistency, we're going to be good to start pushing it down and into this aluminum foil. So we're doing a small batch at a time. Didn't quite mix up enough to get over into this corner yet. And I'm just smoothing this over by hand. Right now, I don't need to worry about getting it perfect, but this is going to be rock hard in 30-45 minutes. Okay, now we've got that filled in. Let's go to the next step, more aluminum foil. We're going to be using even more than last time. I don't need to wad it completely tight though. I want it to be more flexible, so more open like that. And I know it looks like a giant thing of aluminum right now, but we're going to make this into a mermaid. So this is going to be our mermaid tail. And you're probably starting to see the shape form now. And you may not feel like, oh, I could never sculpt something. Like, you can squish some aluminum foil and start to bend it into shape. That's sculpting. That's all this is. And you can do it, and it's your mermaid tail. You can make it however you want it to be. I kind of want it to be something along those lines like that, with just a little bit of a curve to it. I want it to be angled upward like this, so that when splashes of water hit it, the water flows down off the mermaid tail and into the bath. And that's going to be the goal for this side, and the whole statue, really. I'm just going to make this have kind of a mouth right there. Then we can take our mermaid tail and we can put it into this part here so that it's flexible and movable. Until we sculpt with the cement part on it, this is going to hold everything in place. Now just keep wrapping and keep making this longer and bigger and thicker. Giggity giggity. And now I can use this to start to shape the body before we do anything out of cement. And I need to make sure I work within my constraints, like this faucet connector can't bump into that or else it won't be functional. So I can visually see everything before we do any cement and make sure it's all going to be okay. So this pose isn't going to work for our mermaid. We're going to have to change the way her shape goes. We're just going to keep layering it up. Right now it doesn't look great. There's always a point in a project where you start second guessing. Is this going to work? Am I right? Or is this going to be awful when I'm finished? Will I be embarrassed by it, or will I be proud of it? All those feelings are normal. Don't let those feelings win though. Find out. And if you're embarrassed of it, knock it out. Do it again. It's okay. It's okay to be embarrassed of something. And this is the part where I'm going to continue to play with the pose over and over again until I get close. Wherever there's going to be a joint, I'm just going to get in here and squeeze really tight to compress everything. Very close to the pose that I want now. Let's mix up some cement and start solidifying some of it. And we start to make our creation stay put. This is going to become a rock. It's going to shed the water towards the center. The whole time I do this, I'm going to be thinking about water shedding towards the bathtub. That is the real reason why we started this whole project. Sometimes we get caught up and we start sculpting and we'll forget what the purpose is. Put our mermaid skeleton back over this way where she belongs. So let's sculpt some of the tail. So this is just the first layer of mortar mix. We're just using the mortar mix right now. You may have little bumps, things like that.